Welcome back to Cocktails and Classics. I'm Dylan. Joining me as always, Ben and Cam, and we're back. Finally doing it. It's been long requested by the audience. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Boom. To kick things off and get everybody in the right mood for this week, we're going to go to the cocktail, playing off the theme of the movie, the Absolut Pleasure. Absolut, spelt like the vodka. Ingredients are 1.5 ounces of cherry brandy, 1 ounce of Absolut vodka, a quarter of an ounce of Irish cream, quarter ounce simple syrup, a few drops of absinthe, and 4 maraschino cherries. I'm interested to try this one. The Irish cream within all of that seems a little interesting because it's almost gives me kind of, I'd say, martini vibes, just because it's like you serve it in a coupe glass, but it's like brandy, vodka, simple syrup, and absinthe. And I feel like the Irish cream just does not go with those things. So I'm interested to make this one and try it.
I think it's weird to do Irish cream and then simple syrup in there too.
Is it super sweet? I'm not a huge Irish cream person. I couldn't put on one hand the amount of times I've had Irish cream. So
I enjoy Irish cream. Usually Irish cream for me is a winter thing because I don't. That's the time where I can feel like I can drink hot coffee like anytime through the day. So putting liquor in coffee or hot chocolate or whatever, but like during the summertime, yeah, can't do Irish cream. Can't do it. It just makes me feel kind of gross.
Ben on his morning commute, just hot coffee and
Hey,
cream.
Hey, I don't do that anymore. No, guys, I never did it. If I put anything in my coffee, I would wait till I got to work to drink it.
Is this during COVID when your commute was like downstairs?
It may or may not have been when I was going to an actual job.
Oh God! Oh God, Ben! Delete that.
Cut that.
I don't work there anymore. It's fine. Whatever. They don't listen.
Cut that.
Check the show notes below.
Look, guys, it's
hit
not
up
like
the
I was blitzed at work, all right? It was a little bit
you
of
just
Irish
need a little pep
cream.
in his step. Check the show notes below. Hit up those drizzling Casker links. Get yourself some vodka, cherry brandy, Irish cream, absinthe, and let us know what you think of the Absolut Pleasure on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. And you can check out the Rocky Horror Picture Show as recording on Hulu. That's where we saw it, and you could do a watch party with your friends if you spread out a little bit. You could do it virtually.
All right.
Hulu's watch party does suck.
Yeah,
really
Hulu's watch party is bullshit.
I feel like it's great if you don't need to pause. I feel like it's probably great.
Well, here's the
Great
thing.
if you don't understand the concept of a watch party.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we just watched it separately at the same time.
Right.
But there was no,
there really needs to be somebody like a master control, and then everybody else kind of is just beholden to what they do, like pause, play, whatever. But that's not how it works at all.
Well, I feel like we've done
More of a
Netflix,
suggestion.
We've done YouTube, and now Hulu. And Hulu is by far the worst.
Did anyone ever have ads? Because I didn't.
No. I didn't have ads.
Nice. All right.
Get wrecked, Hulu nerds.
Yeah, you didn't make any money of us watching this. Except they did, because we paid for the service. But
For yourself.
well, this week we did the Rocky Horror Picture Show, a 1975 comedy horror musical. Currently sits at a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. It's the story of a newly engaged couple have a breakdown in an isolated area and must seek shelter at the bizarre residence of Dr. Frank N. Furter. Directed by Jim Sharman, written by Richard O'Brien and Jim Sharman. It stars Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, Barry Botswick, Richard O'Brien, Patricia Quinn, Nell Campbell. Meatloaf is in there.
For a whopping, 2 minutes.
For one song.
Yeah.
That's all he needs, baby.
I guess.
Get in, get that paycheck, get out.
I had seen this film. Had either of you? I know, Cam, you said you'd seen the play?
Yeah, not the movie.
I was I knew a little of plot. That's it. I knew Brad and Janet end up at Frankenfurter's lab, and Frankenfurter is making a monster. That's about the extent. I knew a couple of the songs just because, I'll say it, I was a musical theater kid, so...
Wow. We'll skip over that real quick so we don't embarrass you. No, I'm just kidding.
Let's just say I was surprised. No comment was made on that. Huh.
Low hanging.
Apparently,
We're just gonna move past it.
apparently the movie is based off of the stage production, which came first, like 2 years before. I watched this movie probably too young. I don't know. I feel like I was like 14 or 15. We watched it in school.
Oh, what? Not a school movie. This is
one of our
not a school movie.
This is probably like the horniest movie we've watched. And I don't even think it's particularly close.
This movie should be bonked and sent to horny jail immediately.
Like, it's just not... It is not a kid-friendly movie in any respect. I don't know why... I don't know... What?
Yeah, one of our teachers...
This is actually just the Alabama sex ed. It's just watching this movie.
Actually, this would probably be better than that. If they watch this movie, they...
Well, the intent is to scare you, not the other way, you know? They're like, oh, look at all this.
This would probably be more enlightening if this was the Alabama
I would
sex
right,
ed.
exactly. It would go the way that they don't want it to go.
I don't know. I think if you've got a teacher there and you tell them if you have sex, you will end up a statue. With how bad the rest of the education system is, those kids might believe it.
Penis will fall off and you will die. And then perform to sing in a show tune.
Really drive that point home.
Yeah, we probably saw it like 15 or 16. One of the teachers like loved this movie and showed it to us. And
did she just skip the sex parts? Like, how did that even? How did that go down?
We just went straight through, baby.
It's like, hey, check out this part where Frankenfurter sexually assaults 2 people. That's fun.
It was a different time. It was a different time, the early 2010s. The late aughts.
Yeah. I mean, watching it now, you really pay more attention to like everything. I feel like when you're a kid, you just don't pay attention to shit. In the movie, you're just like, all right. Yeah. And then like once you become an adult and you're like, damn, there's a lot going on in this movie that I just skipped over a little bit. But I always like, I mean, obviously it being a musical, I feel like the music really stands out for me as like the nostalgia part of this movie. Mainly Time Warp, Meatloaf's number, and then what is Tim Curry's thing? It's like the transvestite.
Sweet transvestite
is what the song is called.
Yeah, like those are like I feel like the big numbers in this that really like have stuck with me throughout all the years. What did you guys think on your first viewings? Especially Ben, like I feel like not really knowing too much about the plot. I feel like this was probably just
I knew
madness.
that the time warp, but to be honest, the music was pretty fucking great for me. I don't know. I you know me, I love oldies music, and this felt like a mix between like kind of like an oldies rock and roll vibe, but also then kind of getting into like around the Meatloaf rock and roll era, like the more, I guess, what people would call classic rock, compared to like an oldies vibe. But literally from the first like science fiction double feature, I was like, okay, I dig this. This is pretty fucking catchy. Damn It Janet was a little, there's a couple show tuney type songs that they're not as great, but yeah, a lot of them I was like, all right, I dig the music. What's accompanying the music? Sometimes, like, all right, not my thing, not my jam. Just it's not for me, dog. But the music was really good. I will say, I don't know. Did either of you guys ever watch like Mystery Science Theater?
No. I think I may have caught like one or two episodes when I was on TV back in the day.
So I remember not like ever sitting down and watching full movies, but like scrolling through where you would watch with like sitting with my dad and like kind of channel flipping, and every once in a while we'd go back to the. So I guess if anyone who listens to this podcast doesn't know, Mystery Science Theater was this. I don't know when it came out, but it was this TV show slash also like movie show. So they would air old like 1930s, 1940s movies, typically B science fiction movies. And then they would have the host, and then they would have like two other characters that were whatever. I think they were like puppets and then animatronic, whatever. And they would basically just sit and tear the movies apart. They would just make jokes throughout the entire thing. Like, that was the whole point of it. This felt like someone watched a bunch of Mystery Science Theater and was like, I could write some music to this and we could have a fun time. So I kind of dug it. Like, I got the B science fiction vibe and I enjoy it. I was pleasantly surprised. Again, could have toned down the sexual content a little bit for my taste. That's just me. But
I would have prude.
yeah.
Oh, God.
That's the point.
Ben was not awoken.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's my thing either, but that is the point of the movie. Like, that's the point of the thing.
No, I mean, I get it. It was just a bit much for me. I was okay with some of it. I was okay as it was going along. There were times it reached a little far.
It was a little too horny for Ben.
Yeah, it got a little much.
Movie's big horny, that's for sure.
I will say, watching it now, that I've like, I don't know. Like as a kid, I wasn't watching like as much or as many movies as I watch, but like watching it now as like an adult who's definitely like seen a shit ton more movies and really expanded my tastes, I think you get a greater appreciation in this movie for all of the like satire and just poking fun at like that science fiction and like the shitty B movies of like the yesteryears of like the 50s and 60s. And I think that really kind of like adds like an extra layer to this movie more so than just the musical comedy that it is.
If I were going to make this an actual like double feature, I think it would be this movie and like Mars Attacks. Just two
Oh yeah, that would be
super like playoff science fiction, but in like the cheesiest way possible. That is kind of where I view this movie as.
you would scare off a lot of people.
Yeah, but the people who love it, that's the other thing of this movie is like, I know it has such a huge cult following, and the people who love this movie will die for this movie. They like.
I feel like this movie and the Room movie people have the similar vibes.
It has that same like viewing experience though. Like if you go to like a midnight viewing of like Rocky Horror Picture, people are throwing rice at the beginning. They're like singing the songs. I think they do feather boas. I don't know all the niche things because like it's not really my like favorite movie, so I don't do that sort of stuff. But like I also hate those sort of like viewings. I don't know. I'm scared to go to the Room viewing where they're like throwing spoons and shit. I don't know. But like it has that sort of like group experience. That's why we watched this together, was because it's like a group experience that you have to view together. Because like if you watch The Room by yourself for the first time, I feel like you're gonna be big sad.
It is. Yeah, it's not the best. Like, I don't know. I don't think I watched it alone, but it's definitely way better in a group setting, especially with someone who's watched it before, who can kind of point out some of the dumb stuff as it's happening. Because I do feel like even though it's obviously very bad, you do miss some stuff the first time, like just shitty things that are kind of in the background that are happening that you only catch like if you've seen it.
Cam, what was it like going from the stage play, which I'm sure is somewhat similar to the movie, into the movie?
Honestly, the movie's way hornier. Like, I mean, it's probably because you see everything kind of close up, and they can get a little more racy, I guess, in the movie version. But yeah, I mean, I think it's. I mean, the don't get me wrong, the play is still pretty much like that still, but yeah, and I mean, Tim Curry just does a like great job as Frankenfurter. He's just so like off the wall in this. It's nuts.
Yeah, I feel like he's also such a like emotive
Yeah,
actor where it's like there's the points in the movie where they kind of break the fourth wall and he looks directly into the camera and will like sing something or like do a facial expression and just
mhm,
adds like
yeah,
that little bit more
Yeah,
to the character.
normally when someone like spikes the lens, you kind of like but he does such a good job of it, of making it like it feels with intent, and whatever like emotion he's trying to convey, he just does really well. Also, like I said at the beginning, because he's in like the very first scene when they're doing the wedding, like he plays like the priest. Did you guys notice that? I said he looks like
yeah,
No,
he looked
yeah. He was the
so.
priest in the very beginning.
Yeah, he looks honestly. So Tim Curry can be kind of like this weird, terrifying. Like I feel like he plays terrifying people really well. Um, him just playing like the normal, like very stern looking preacher in the beginning was one of the most terrifying things I've seen.
I did see that this was apparently the first theatrical movie that Tim Curry was in,
Yeah, I saw that.
which kind of blows my mind because this is like probably his most famous role besides maybe Pennywise.
Yeah, I mean, he's done. I mean, I feel like this is the one that.
If I look at Tim Curry movies on here, his four movies that he's known for are Congo, I guess. Never seen that. Clue, this, and The Three Musketeers.
Okay, I'm gonna call bullshit on that being there. Um,
I mean, I'm just
it
saying
could
that's
just be
what the
too
that's
because
what the four are.
technically, the original It was also
That was a
it was
mini
a TV.
series, right?
Yeah, it was a TV mini. So like they might not have counted it.
I don't think so. They don't usually count TV, I think, in this section, especially because IMDb. I don't know.
Yeah, he had
Um,
done TV, pretty much all just TV work until.
He's got a ton of credits too. I feel like we've talked about this before, but
Yeah, well,
a lot of
it
credits.
also
on this page.
helps when he's been doing like voice work for God years. Like I think he started doing voiceover work in like the late 80s.
so I did see that according to I believe it's so according to a 2017 Rolling Stone poll, this was the best movie musical of all time.
I would disagree with that.
What's better?
Grease.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't meaning it's true or not. I'm just curious what you would think would be better. But yeah, I mean, I think Grease would be
Also a super
traditionally
horny
better.
movie.
Yeah, also a bonk movie.
It's a
well-
bonk movie in a toxic way, though.
Yes.
It's a toxic
Yes.
horny.
It's
movie.
a bonk movie in a this is very dated and things are not okay here.
Right.
But it was, like the 70s, and it was based off the 1950s, and also half the cast was in like their 40s, so, whatever.
I don't know.
Really
I
like
do,
La La Land, right? I mean, I've never seen it, but that's a musical, right?
Yeah. Well, La La Land's pretty good, but I would say I would definitely say Grease is better than La La Land as far as like nostalgia's sake. Um, this
Well,
one
we're not talking about nostalgia's sake. We're talking about the best movie. We're
like
talking
what
about
am
the
I
best
singing?
musical movie ever.
What's gonna come to my
Singing in
head
the
to sing?
Rain.
Exactly.
You know,
That's probably that's probably the best musical song
West
of
Side
all time.
Story.
That's the other one that was on this Wikipedia
yeah,
page.
that's always got so many like accolades and awards and stuff.
This one is the 1961 version, was chosen
Yeah,
as
I
the
would
best
assume
screen
that was.
musical.
Yeah, well, that one literally like launched that movie soundtrack into like one of the highest. It's sold so many fucking copies for a musical. It's insane.
Let's see, highest grossing musical
It
soundtracks.
might have been broken recently by, well, I don't know how they count. I don't know how they count digital now, because I feel like Hamilton probably would.
I forgot about Hamilton.
All right,
That's
well
got to be up there, right?
this is
Well,
also like
in terms of
including
Although I
2017,
don't,
everything.
it
wouldn't have
doesn't have a
made it.
movie, I guess.
Yeah, and the
I
movie's
mean, it
more
does have
so
a
just.
movie, but
It's more so just
just
a
a
video
play.
of the performance.
if you've seen I will. If you've seen the play in real life, I think the movie is very boring. Like it's like seeing the play, but like worse because I don't know. You're not. I theater is so much of like a crowd, like
Well,
spectator event,
I also
and it's
just
just
I don't like when, and I've seen a couple. I think I've seen like the Royal Theater. I think that when they, or maybe I don't know if it was a Broadway or not, but it was Into the Woods where they filmed that. I think the BBC ran it for a while. I hate when trying to watch those types of movies and they do so many camera cuts and it's just like that's not the experience I want of watching this. Like I want to watch it.
yeah.
Like
You
I
just want the
don't want to
wide
watch.
angle.
Well, and that's the thing too is like
Well,
you
I don't
can
even know if
miss
it's
so
the wide
many
angle.
things. Like
Yeah. The thing about theater on TV or movie is that you only can see what what the director wants you to see, like camera wise. And so, yeah, there's just a lot that you get when you're just like looking at the stage.
yeah, and there's
And you can
something.
kind of just look wherever on the stage that's
Yeah.
happening. You can look at any like one part
Well, there's something
and it's
cool
kind of up
about
to you.
feeling like you see something that they don't want you to see. It's like you're in on the magic trick, right? When you get to see something on the stage that's, trying to think what one of the. I can't remember if it was when I saw like Jersey Boys or Memphis, one of the two, but I think it was. I think it was Jersey Boys. They had like the track built into the stage where like you could see like there was one they were doing like a bowling alley and they had like a ball return type prop and it literally like glided out through the track onto the stage right where it needed to go. And it was one of those things where if you're in the right seat and you can see it, it was like, oh, I know how they did that. There's just something about that where when you're seeing it, you know, a shot and the shots from like a low angle going up, like that completely kind of takes you out of the experience of watching it.
I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I've only seen one musical in my entire life, and it's Mamma Mia, and I've seen it twice.
Oh man.
I will say a prayer
I've seen-
tonight for you, Dylan.
I saw it in like 8th grade, then I saw it in like 12th grade.
The
So.
movie, or are you talking about?
No. I'm talking about like actual stage,
Okay.
like
I
musicals.
will
I've
say,
only
for
seen that.
somebody who says they don't really like musicals, I've actually seen a fair amount, I suppose.
I will say the strong part of Mamma Mia is the ABBA soundtrack, but
Oh yeah, for sure.
You mean the entire point of the musical is the strong point?
yeah,
I mean, it's obviously the best part. Although I will say my favorite musical is probably Book of Mormon. It's very funny.
all right. So I was trying to research a little bit here on like the highest grossing like musical soundtrack. I couldn't quite find that. I did find the
Gotta be West Side Story, right?
top 10 highest movie soundtracks of all time.
Okay.
Could you give me any of the top 3? And this isn't musicals. This is just movie soundtracks. Top 3 movie soundtracks.
All right. Question: is West Side Story in there at all? In
No.
the top 10. Really? That's surprising.
That is kind of shocking.
Is it? Well, is it inflation adjusted though, or no?
I don't think it even matters at this point.
It might. $1 in fucking 1902 when West Side Story came out is a lot more valuable today.
Didn't we just say it was 1960?
I know it's old as shit though.
I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know.
think of what movie soundtrack, like,
Top 10 soundtracks. I feel like it would have to be. All right. No, wait. Black Panther. It's gotta
Nope.
be one, right? Really? Is that in top 10 at all?
No.
Is this album sales or streams?
This is,
and imagine it's
I
sales.
think it's album sales.
Oh,
Yeah, that's why I'm
nothing
like
in the past 10 years. If it included streams, Black Panther album would be up there.
dog. You know what movie had a great soundtrack that I loved as a kid? No lie, Shrek.
You know what movie soundtrack I was just listening to this week? Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
Oh my god.
Speaking of, they have a cover of Time Warp.
In that movie?
No, Tenacious D made one in 2020. I think it was like a vote thing. But they made a cover of Time Warp with like some celebrities coming in to do like, you just move to the
okay.
left, blah, blah, blah. But
Yeah.
it's actually like really good.
I think I remember that coming out.
Yeah.
All right. So
Hold on, wait, I'm not done.
if you can
Give
give
me
me anything in the top
Give
10,
me a
I'd be
year. Give me a
surprised.
year.
Yeah, let's get a year give me number 1 year.
The number 1 year?
Yeah.
92.
92. 92. Is it a Disney thing? Oh, Jesus.
Oh, The Bodyguard.
Yep. That's number 1.
I mean, that makes. I don't.
Number 2.
Christ.
Well, depending on which list here, number 2 is 84.
84.
Oh, is it Top Gun?
That is on this other list at number 9.
I was to say,
well,
I would assume
number 9,
Top
but that was
Gun would
86.
be higher up there.
Top Gun's got to be up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's number 9 on this one list.
1984.
84. What came out in 84? Is it like, it wouldn't be like, no, it'd have to be something poppy, right? Like something that was like popular music was on. Footloose?
That is also on this list, but that is not the one we're looking for.
Dirty Dancing.
Okay.
That is on this other list, I'm pretty sure, but that's not the one we're looking for.
We're getting around there. God. I think of like, is it Purple Rain?
Yep.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
I don't even think of that as a movie soundtrack.
This other
It's
one
just
has
a Prince. It's just a Prince album. I know
Yeah.
it's for a movie, but it's just a Prince album.
also in the top 3 is Forrest Gump.
Wow.
Because it has Jefferson Airplane, Leonard Skinner all in it. But
Yeah, I mean, I feel like back before streaming, these were just like, oh, this is a collection of good songs that I can
Yeah.
buy and play.
Yeah, pretty
on a
much.
CD or whatever.
Yeah.
this list for top 10 music, like highest grossing musicals, I think it's just the movie though. It's not like albums or
play.
streams or anything. So obviously it's going to be like newer stuff, but their number 1 is Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Like the 2017,
Yeah.
the 2019 Lion King, 2019 Aladdin,
So basically, all Disney remakes. Got it.
All the Disney remakes.
then Grease, Greatest Showman, Mary Poppins Returns, Chicago, La La Land, Les Mis, and Mamma Mia. I feel like Les Mis. Everyone fucking loves Les Mis too. That's
I
another,
hated
like,
Les Mis.
I do
classic.
not. I literally
Musical.
just told my wife today that I admitted I do not like that musical. I don't care for it.
It was so boring.
Yes.
Is
I
the
don't
like
know.
is the
I think
music
it's so
actually good
fucking
though?
boring.
Like, I feel like
It's
it can
all-
be
it's pretty
saved if the music
depressing,
is
too.
good.
Yeah, the music's just not upbeat. Like it's very,
It's pretty
and
sad.
I think it's very like operetta esque. Like
Yep.
it's very like
Operatic.
yeah, it's very like every word
not in a
that
fun
we
way
can
like
say,
Freddie Mercury.
we are instead singing, and it's just like okay, this cool. You could just say these words and not rhyme them.
I'm
and
going
be fine.
to arrest you for
What is
stealing
that?
a loaf of bread,
What is that
and
called?
you're gonna be in jail
It's
forever.
an operetta.
I know it's an operetta where every word is sung.
An
pretty
opera is every word sung.
much? Okay.
Then like a musical. Well, musicals are just kind of weird because musicals are like songs being sung in the story, but not like intention, like whatever. I feel like we've talked about that on the pod before. And then an operetta is one where it's like there are very few actual lines spoken throughout. I think Seussical is an operetta, so like almost the entire. I think Hamilton would be Hamilton might be considered almost an opera because practically the entire thing is sung.
I've also never seen Hamilton.
I think it's worth seeing.
Well, yeah, you
I like
should
it.
check that out.
I obviously yes, like everyone fucking loves Hamilton, but like,
Yeah.
but you're supposed. I should probably go see it live, right? Not watch the movie or whatever, like the recording.
I think that's the best way to see it, but I don't know.
It's all. Is it still like super fucking hard to see though? Because that was like the thing was like it was kind of exclusive.
I don't know. I don't know if it's
get,
as
like,
difficult.
Oh,
to
it
get tickets
depends. If you
anymore.
go to New York, maybe, but not like other
I
places.
kicked myself. I had the opportunity to get tickets like relatively cheap, and
Oh,
well, so Allison and I went when we were at Eastern, and I was gonna buy her tickets. We were going to New York. I was like, I'll buy Broadway tickets for like Christmas that year. And I was like, between Wicked and I'd heard like the Hamilton album had like barely been out. I had heard like 2 songs from the soundtrack just through like Pandora. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to pay money for something and then like not know. And it was like that January and February that it exploded. I was like, fuck, I could have bought those tickets, and if we didn't want to see it, I could have sold them, made a shit ton of money, and still bought the fucking Wicked tickets, and came out with so much more. The cheapest seats, far back theater, like completely nosebleed seats, $1,200 a ticket.
Oh,
I could have bought 2
Yeah.
tickets for like $200 a piece for decent seats.
wow.
And I
I don't think it's that crazy anymore.
have you since seen it, Ben?
I haven't seen it live. I wanted to go see it in Chicago. We just didn't have the opportunity to
It's
go.
coming to Detroit in November.
Yeah.
Traveling thing. I did see it. I will say I did see it. I saw it in Chicago, and it was pretty.
I mean, the thing is like realistically, there have been a few where I've seen like the off Broadway and then the Broadway. But even some of the ones where like I've seen them off Broadway and then listened to the Broadway version. Sometimes some of the off Broadway things are pretty fucking good. And Broadway in Chicago is also like, I think if you can't see something in New York and you can see it instead in like San Francisco or Chicago, you're basically as close as you can get.
Right. Like 95%.
Because I think a lot of times like understudies and that like will go on to do some of the other more like different regional shows.
I was gonna say earlier when Ben was talking about the opening number, like "Damn It, Janet." Sorry, not the science fiction double feature, like not the title sequence song, but Damage in it, like the opening number. It is like a little more like classical, like musical, like
It's show
Broadway.
tuning. It is show tuned.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
but I feel like it sets up the whole movie in this sense of like this is about to be a whole meme.
Well,
Because
I think the fact that it's a show tune, but also like they're cursing and they're doing all of this like kind of it sets you up for like this is a musical, but this is not a traditional musical.
And the fact that they're like they're like drawing on the door and somebody's erasing it, and then there's a funeral behind them while they're like singing about love. It's like, oh God, what am I getting myself into?
What I thought was really interesting was that literally the opening number literally describes the exact plot of the movie. Like an alien doctor has created a new has created life. Like, okay, oh, I wonder what this movie's going to be about.
Tell you exactly.
They literally talk about
They tell you what to expect and also literally what to not what you don't expect.
They even allude to like at the end, when like after Frankfurter is killed and Rocky like climbs the radio tower. Like I feel like they allude to that with the King Kong references and things like that. Opening movie alludes to so much, or the opening number alludes to so much in this movie that it was very interesting to see and find that out.
Did we talk about how the screenplay was written by one of the actors in here?
Riff Raff.
No.
Yeah. So the screenplay was written by, or at least in part by, Riff Raff.
I think he wrote
Richard O'Brien.
I think he wrote the music too.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so the film was based on the musical stage production Rocky Horror Show, with music, book, and lyrics written by O'Brien. So
Wow.
He wrote all the original stuff, and then the screenplay was written by him and the director.
Okay. All right.
Kind of funny. He wrote and starred in his own musical, which I guess Lin-Manuel Miranda did that too.
But one of them is a hell of a lot more famous. No.
I mean, that is true. Also, one of them made themselves the star in their own musical. And the star in which a lot of his supporting cast were better singers.
Watch yourself, Cam.
I mean, I like
think-
him. Don't get me wrong.
I don't think
but
he would argue that.
Yeah, I don't think he would either. I don't think he would either. But, yeah, people that play Hamilton afterwards are
Just
better
a couple
singers.
of like the quick reading through the trivia things of the people that they almost had in this movie is kind of crazy. Steve Martin auditioned for the role of Brad.
Oh, that would have been
funny.
Vincent Price was offered the role of the criminologist.
Oh, that would have perfectly been, because he's basically a Vincent Price character.
Yeah, and I guess he had to turn it down due to scheduling conflicts. He was interested because he had seen the musical and loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Mick Jagger wanted to play Dr. Frankenfurter.
Fuck off. It sounds awful. That sounds actually awful.
Wow. Okay, somebody's not a Mick Jagger fan. All right.
I mean, he's not an actor. He's not an actor.
He's been in movies.
What?
He's literally in a movie.
Okay. He's literally in a movie. Cool.
Like he's the star in a couple of them.
What?
So this
Ones.
Oh,
Name
geez.
them.
So I guess the director turned down an offer from 20th Century Fox, and Fox was going to offer him a larger budget and a longer shoot schedule if he would have cast more stars: Mick Jagger, David Bowie, Lou Reed, Cher, etc.
Oh my god. This movie, I feel like it would have been a huge, like,
He felt
not flop.
Jim
but
Sharman. Well, it was a huge flop.
Yeah.
The director, Jim Sharman, said he wanted to use the cast that kind of brought the play to life. So he cast as many of the stage actors as possible, which is probably how someone like Tim Curry ended up like the star of the movie. According to Meatloaf, Elvis Presley was the studio's first choice to play Eddie. Apparently, Elvis expressed interest in the role.
Wow.
I will say a lot of the numbers in this are like very they seem like they're like taking pieces from different musicians. Like there was one Frankenfurter song, I believe, that I was like, this feels very David Bowie-esque. Like I could definitely see a like David Bowie influence here. I mean, like you
Well,
said, the Elvis one, like Eddie's literally like the Elvis knockoff at one point.
well,
Like
even
this song
so, when
is
Tim Curry does "Sweet Transvestite" and he's got like doesn't he have like the boa in that as he's
Yeah.
doing that song? That was very like early '70s Mick Jagger. Like his movement throughout that was very the whole like wrist thing and all of his strut felt very like '70s Stones. So I definitely think when they even like were working on the musical, they were heavily influenced by whatever rock stars or musicians of the time.
oh my god. I see this one that so when Dr. Scott crashes through the wall for his entrance, it's because the set builders forgot to put an extra door in the lab set. So they just had to like get him in there somehow.
Oh, this was a cool thing on IMDb that they said there's an alternate version called the conceptual version where everything up to the time warp is in black and white, and then once it hits the time warp it switches to color. That would be pretty fucking cool.
The time warp was originally written for the stage version to fill space. The original production was only 40 minutes long. And then that's like the song. Well, I'm the only one who had seen this film. Been in Cam or the Goob Squad this week. So they're going to give a fresh rating based on their first viewing, and then I'll give you a nostalgia and an updated rating.
So I gave this movie a 6.5. I dig the old school science fiction vibe and elements that it takes. I fucking love musicals. Deal with it. I enjoyed a lot of the music in this movie. I thought it was really good. It loses some points for me for, I mean, one, the penalty flag for excessive horniness. Two,
15-yarder.
Two, I
Automatically.
feel like as the movie keeps going, it feels like they realized, oh shit, we spent way too much time in the first half, so now things have to really happen like really quick, one beat after another in the second half. Like I feel like they could have given a little bit more, I guess, space or some like breathing room between some more of the plot points or some of the songs in the second half of the movie, and that's the big thing for me, even more so than the horniness of it. But I would watch this again. I dig it. A couple of songs might have to make its way to like a Halloween party playlist. Seems apropos. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, it's an experience. I don't recommend it for children. Don't you know?
Yeah.
But I also think this is, like you said, I feel like this is a good movie to... This would be a movie that I feel like at a Halloween party you could turn on, and I feel like you would kind of have like one or two people that might like kind of peer in on it, and then by like 25-30 minutes in, like half the party is just watching the movie. And
Like
kind
Napoleon Dynamite.
No,
not
the
that
only
one.
reason people
That's the
watched that
opposite.
movie was because it was your party and no one wanted to be mean about it.
No one had the heart.
No one had the gall to tell you to turn that off.
All right, I guess we're watching
there's a-
Napoleon Dynamite.
There's a time and a place, and that was neither. But yeah, I feel like this is one that like you kind of turn on and people would slowly gravitate to, and just again, it's one of those movies I feel like too you could just kind of like make comments of and joke about and have more fun watching this movie than what you would get out of just watching it. So, yeah, I think it's a 6.5, and it's a 6.5 with a recommend.
Going in, I actually probably lean more towards Cam. It was like a 5. I just remember it being like okay. Definitely had the cult classic kind of vibe where I was like, is this one really for me? I like the songs. I feel like every once in a while, Time Warp will just come up and get stuck in my head, and then I'm like singing it out loud because it's such a bop. I was waiting for the Meatloaf number to come because Hopatootie is a banger as well. I don't know if I agree with it being the best movie musical of all time, but I think it has some of the best songs. I'm gonna actually bump it up to a 7.5 on a rewatch. Like Ben said, I the B movie references and the sci-fi satire I really enjoy. I like how just off the wall the movie is. And by the end of it, it's like, oh yeah, no, of course they're aliens. Like it just by that point in the movie, you're like, yep, that fits. That is this universe. Why not? It's cheesy. It's campy. It's got humor. I think this one is definitely a Halloween rotation necessity. And if you haven't seen it, I think you find a group of friends and you watch it, or maybe you check out one of the midnight screenings for your first time and just really go balls to the wall and just enjoy it completely. I highly recommend it. I think you should check it out if you haven't. And you should check out our other episodes wherever you're listening and give us a rating. Subscribe. Check us out on Instagram at Cocktails and Classics Pod. Let us know what we should watch next. This one was recommended to us, and we just took our sweet time getting to it. Check us out next time. And as always, watch responsibly.